Good morning. Good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for coming. Our first order of business, our Fire Chief, Chief Desi, will ask everyone to stand, and he's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. And thank you. This is an exciting day for the town. I'll be brief and then introduce our speakers. I want to just start by recognizing our commissioners. This has been a very important project for the town, and so we do have Mayor Ken Snyder will be speaking to you shortly. Vice Mayor Mike Haycock, Commissioner Bishop, Commissioner Dominic, Commissioner Gold, Commissioner Merrigan, and Commissioner Williams are the sitting commission here as we open this station. This is a multi-year project, and I'll talk about that in a bit, but we also have a number of former commissioners who were very involved in the project, so I want to recognize Commissioners Jim Brown, Randy Clare. I saw Commissioner Clare here today, Commissioner Jack Daly, Commissioner Terry Gans, Commissioner Erwin Pastor, Commissioner George Spoll, and Commissioner N. Zunz, who's also in the audience. Thank you for coming today. Your program today is going to include remarks by the mayor. I'll have a few comments after he speaks. Our chief, Chief Desi, will come up and talk about the station, share information with you. And then we also have some special guests, Norm and Patty Schimmel, who will be presenting a memento for the department and the station related to 9/11. And then we will have afterwards an opportunity for small group tours through the station. So with that said, I'd like to introduce our mayor, Ken Snyder.
So thank you, Tom. Thanks everyone for coming out today. The first responsibility of any government is the health and safety of its citizens. And no group embodies this mandate more than the community's firefighter paramedics. Today, Longboat Key honors those men and women by christening our new Firehouse 92, a station that both incorporates the latest technologies and enhancements in fire service and stands out as a beautiful work of architecture consistent with our island's aesthetic values. Moreover, despite COVID-19, supply chain disruptions, and at least one hurricane, the department and our town staff working together completed this project within budget and in just over 1 year. Thanks to Chief Desi, Tom Harmer, and all the others who helped make this plan a reality. As you may have seen last week, The Observer featured a comprehensive tour of the new fire station. Like a proud father, Chief Desi showed off all its improvements and features, remarking at almost every stop, "We've never had this before." Well, Chief, now you have it. Your team is the best, and they deserve the best. Whenever we have a celebration like this on Longboat Key, I'm thankful for the good fortune that we all have to live here. In addition to the beauty we get to experience every day, we are blessed with the resources to continuously protect and improve our island with projects like the undergrounding of our power lines, the reclamation of our beaches, the town center development underway, and this new home for our first responders. I'm also proud of the leadership role so many of our Longboat Key citizens, so many of you, by your actions and philanthropy in creating one of the most desirable regions in the country and improving the lives of all who live here. Chief Desi, congratulations on your wonderful new home. Good luck and be safe. Thank you. I think Tom is going to speak next again.
Thank you, Mayor. Before the chief comes up, I'd like to say a few remarks. As As your town manager, I've said this before, but in my 40-some year professional career, the first almost 20 years I served as a firefighter and then ultimately as the fire chief. And so that was a long time ago, but I recognize how important providing the right tools to our employees is. And it's really exciting as you think back over the past couple of years, the investments that have been made in fire and emergency services here and in public safety overall, whether it's new rescues, new fire truck, new station, renovated stations, etc. So I really want to thank again our commissioners for making this long-term investment in public safety on the island here in Longboat Key. Our residents not only supported the project through a voter referendum, but also our annual survey that we do, and this most recent one in 2021, the fire department received a 94% satisfaction rating for the services provided by our firefighter medics, the highest rating of all our departments. I know the police are feeling pretty competitive, and I think they were at 93, so we'll see what happens next year. But obviously our residents very much support public safety here on the island, and our firefighter medics do a tremendous job. I also want to give a big thank you to not just our current, but our former commissioners who provided leadership, guidance, and support to replace the aging station that was here. As I mentioned their names earlier, but there was a lot of elected officials that made tough decisions and carried a request to the voters that was supported. Obviously, public safety is a core service of the town. You know, I started in December of 2017, and in November of 2017, so a month before I started, is when the commission authorized the ballot language for the fire stations project to be placed on that March ballot. So it was a great way for me as the new town manager to be given a task by the commission to go out into the community and educate them about the charter revisions that were going on at the time and the fire station projects. And so Chief Desi and I went on a road trip for a couple of months and went out to a number of different locations and condo fed and associations and homeowner groups and Kiwanis and Rotary, and we talked about, you know, firefighting and the fire department and the needs in the community. And again, it was significantly supported at the ballot box. In the town, we have core values for all of our employees, and we have what we call the BOAT principle. It's the first four in our list of core values. Be responsive, offer solutions, actively communicate, and think team. So the T is think team, and I just want to highlight for everyone that this is a team project. It touched every one of our departments. It's clearly a fire station and it's a facility for the fire department, but it's one that everyone was involved in. Our public works staff, I'm sure the chief may mention, but Charlie Mops was the project manager, Isaac Brownman, the department head, our planning and zoning and building department from a planning and permitting standpoint and an inspection standpoint, a certificate of occupancy standpoint, our finance team on how do we fund the station and borrow and the process we needed to go through, our procurement to select our design and construction team. Our IT department was heavily involved in the technology out here and all the connectivity that's necessary. Our clerk was involved, our police department's been involved, the town attorney. So every aspect of town government was involved in this project. I'll make a couple of quick additional special thanks. I know the chief will spend a little bit more time, but I really want to thank the Longboat Key Club and Ocean Properties for their efforts and partnership here. We couldn't have done this without them. We needed some additional space here to help with temporary facilities. And when we asked, they immediately showed up, walked the site, and said, whatever you need. And so here we are today because of their partnership and assistance. So thank you. I'd also like to recognize Sarasota County. I know Chief Regner's here as the fire chief for Sarasota County and his staff. We reached out and asked about placing a weather station on this station because we're a coastal barrier island, it's out here, and the county had these special state-of-the-art weather stations at their facilities at strategic locations in the county, and we said, why don't we put one here on Longboat Key? And they were very responsive, they offered to do that, and so now we have installed a state-of-the-art weather station here in partnership with Sarasota County. So thank you for that. You know, time flies by if you think about all the things that have occurred in the last couple of years. The Observer did a great job, and I know Emily's here, but doing a timeline. So Mark, thank you for the timeline. I just want to touch on a couple of those quick things. The commission voted to approve this going to the voters. I mentioned that was in November of 2017. It was on the ballot in March. It passed. There's a series of things that have to go through. We have to be rated. We have to get a credit rating through S&P before we borrow. We did that, very successful, AA+, second highest rating you can receive. We then went out to the market for a loan, got a very competitive interest rate. We then, once we had the money, we were able to then hire the design and construction team, which we did back in 2019. We reached a final agreement on a price for the facility back in 2020 in March and April. The next month or so, we moved the firefighters into their temporary facility, and then in July, we broke ground last year. And we said publicly that we should finish this no later than September. You know, internally, we were looking at calendars that said June and July. A few things popped up. You know, we've had some tropical storms and hurricanes and pandemics and red tide, but we're still on schedule and on budget. And so thank you to the project managers and to the design and construction team. You'll hear more from the chief about the project and the station, including all the enhancements and all the good work by our team. I don't want to steal his thunder, but I do want to recognize him for his leadership in overseeing this project over the past couple of years. So thank you, Chief Desi, for all of your work. And as I turn it over to Chief Desi, I just want to say I'm personally excited that we can provide such a high-quality workplace for our firefighter paramedics. They do such a great job. And I want to especially thank all of our residents for their support and all of you coming out today. And special thanks again to our commissioners and residents for your continued support in investing in public safety here on Longboat Key. Thank you. Chief Desi.
Well, good morning, everybody. I want to echo what Mr. Harmer just said about the past commissioners and current commissioners and the residents. We do appreciate it, and it was a long-awaited project to be completed. We do appreciate everybody's work. You know, the fire department began really in 1953, and it was an organized volunteer department at the time. And what happened was, in a subdivision north of here called Sleepy Lagoon, there was a fire of 4 cabins that were on fire. And at the time, the volunteer fire department would respond, but also the city of Sarasota Fire Department, they were actually the first ones called to the fire. And believe it or not, the fire station, which is downtown Sarasota, took them about an hour to arrive on scene, and that wasn't good enough for the residents out here, so they decided to form a fire service here in 1953. So Chief Regner and Chief Hartley, we appreciate it. I know you guys weren't there at the time, but maybe you guys can speed up the response time a little bit next time. Thank you. But time has changed here. We have a lot of changes in the fire department and the fire service alone. And we're talking about this building here as a firehouse. It's not a fire station. Fire station is a large building that has classrooms in it, has administrative offices in it. But we refer to this fire building facility as a firehouse, because this is where the firefighters live during their tenure here in the fire service. This is where they live. They sleep here, they eat here, they play here, so they work here. So this is where they function. This is a firehouse. And if you go, as you guys go through this firehouse today, you'll notice that it's like a house. It's got bathrooms, it's got showers, it has bedrooms, it's got living room, it's got everything in there that a house has, and that's why we call it a firehouse. And you know, we've waited for this since 2011. I know Mr. Harmer is talking 2017, but we actually brought this to light in 2011 and began this process with the former town manager Dave Bullock, former public works director Juan Florenza, James Linkolder, who's not here today, had a huge part in it in the beginning, and also Todd Sweet from Sweet Sparkman. They did the assessment on the firehouse that was here. And this firehouse is replacing a fire station that was here in 1986. And the last time that we did any type of ceremony was in 1997, which was the firehouse north of here. So it's not every day that a fire chief or the fire department gets an opportunity to have a ceremony to open up a new firehouse, and especially here in the town of Longboat Key, where you only have 2 firehouses. So this is a special day. Mr. Harmer talked about all these other people, but we have to keep in mind that Mr. Harmer also did a lot of work behind the scenes to get this building built. And he doesn't take enough credit, but I'm telling you, we appreciate it. Thank you. As we moved through the procurement process, and it was a process, I will tell you, we had an assessment done. We also had a team of design that I'm telling you, these guys were terrific. Todd Sweet is an unbelievable architect. He's unfortunately not here today, but his right-hand person, Jenna, where's Jenna? She's right here. She was the lead on this project for us. Elizabeth and Shirley and Michelle, thank you guys. You guys were awesome. I mean, you put the colors together for us. You did all those things that I could really care less about, but that you made it a house for us, and so we appreciate it. Thank you. And the construction managers, I don't know what I can say about Mr. Ham back there, but Shane, his last name fits him perfectly. Last name is Ham, and he sure is a ham, let me tell you. He has been working on this project from day one, and Shane, I don't know what we would have done without you. We appreciate it. Ross, his boss, Mr. Swift in the back there, we appreciate it. Jonathan back there, thank you guys so much. And what was nice about it was they teamed up with Wharton Smith out of Orlando and Charlotte County, and again, having both these builders here to help us was incredible. And so Jennifer, Karen, Doug, and Tom, thank you guys so much. We really, really appreciate it. You don't know how much we appreciate it. And Mr. Harmer mentioned the Longboat Key Club. Rick, I don't know what we would have done without you guys giving us the property next door to put our temporary facility there, but you and the team have been awesome, so thank you very much. I do want to recognize the civil engineer, George F. Young, the structural engineer, Snell Engineering, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineer, Design Group. Thank you guys. And I would be upset if I didn't mention the Garden Club and the Kiwanis Club for the landscape they did out front. Terrific. Thank you very, very much. We couldn't have done that without you. And these firefighters standing alongside, if it wasn't for these men and women, I'll be honest with you, that we wouldn't have gotten it done. In all honesty, these guys and girls have been terrific, and I personally want to thank them all and give them a round of applause. Thank you. They are the ones that tore down the station, moved the station, filled back the station up inside here. They did all that work, and there was a lot of time spent. So again, I appreciate that. I want to recognize the management staff of the fire department. We have the Deputy Chief Sandy Drake, Assistant Chief Brian Carr, and Assistant Chief John Curran, Assistant Chief Jane Ross, and our PIO Tina Adams. All of them had a huge part in this project behind the scenes. And I want to tell you something. This next guy, I don't know where he finds his energy, but I'm telling you, if it wasn't for this guy, I don't know what I would have done. Charlie, you were unbelievable. You were unbelievable, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So like Mr. Harmer said, this firehouse has a lot of different things in them that we didn't have before. We have individual bedrooms. Before we had one big room. So now we have individual bedrooms and little study areas. We have an apparatus exhaust system front and back of the firehouse, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Decontamination area, so when the firefighters come back from a call, they can decontaminate their fire gear, their fire uniform, and themselves. And you'll see that here as you walk through the firehouse. The weather station that Mr. Harmer mentioned, we have no more carpet. We have tile. We have the polished concrete floors in there. We have a treatment room. And if you notice, as you walk through the firehouse, you'll notice that each room doesn't really have a number on it. We called it something. We had the firefighters name the rooms. And so the names of the rooms are either equipment or maybe some sort of a incident command subject. As you walk through, you'll see it. I think the kitchen is called Fully Involved. So you'll see different areas in there named by the room. So I have to tell you something. As a fire chief, I am absolutely thrilled. This is the happiest day since I've been here. This project was, again, 2011 was a long haul to get here. But again, if it wasn't for Sweet Sparkman and his team and John Swift and Wharton Smith, we would not have been so successful as we are as we stand here today. So, as I said before, we're going to have tours here throughout the station. We're going to try to limit the number of size of people going through. But again, I appreciate everybody being here, and thank you so much, Commissioners, Tom, for all that you guys have helped with. And I do want to mention two people that came here to help us today, and it's Katrina and Ann Lathrop. They used to be our secretaries for us, and they came here for an open house. So thank you guys for being here and supporting us. Thank you. With that, what I'd like to do right now is I have Deputy Chief Drake would like to come up and present a couple awards to a couple people. After she's done, I'll come back up and introduce a couple. And then before we clear out of here, we're going to go ahead and we'll do the uncoupling. So Chief Drake, I'll bring this down for you.
Good morning, everybody. As Chief had mentioned, there are many people that were involved in this project, and too many people to make plaques for in general, so I do apologize for that. But as you guys know, the fire service, we work 24 hours on, we work 48 hours off, and I picked up a new hobby, and graciously through the Firefighters Association, they had donated some of the pins and the different things that we have as far as challenge coins. So I was able to take a little bit of time on doing some woodwork for some of our players on the team. So first off, John Swift and your team, I would like you to come up for your plaque, please. So, like I said, we're on 24, we're off for 48, and as I worked on this plaque, I started to realize the time and effort that it takes in order to build a simple plaque, doing some wood burning and a little bit of woodwork. And as I watched these guys day in and day out build our fire station, I realized the time and the effort that's involved in putting something really fabulous together. So with that, I wanted to say thank you. So with the team that is up here, like I said, if I had more than the time frame allotted, I would have made something for everybody. But as I worked on this, I did realize the time frame involved. One of the other things that I did have the opportunity to make was for a gentleman that was at this South Station day in and day out, working long hours, listening to suggestions from many of the firefighters on all the different things that we wanted, you know, like a swimming pool and a hot tub and a sauna, and having to pretty much tell us no. But a simple act of bringing some donuts turned into the request for I work for donuts. So with that, I would like to say thank you to Shane. The back of the plaque is a little rough, and as you can see, the back of the plaque was a little messed up on trying to drill and do simple things on a simple piece of wood. But I turned it over and made it work on the front, and this is the honorary donut. The next team that I would like to come up is the team for Todd Sweet. As Chief had mentioned, critical people were involved in this project throughout the town. The architect couldn't be here, unfortunately, today, but I do have a plaque for his team in appreciation. And as with the other plaques, it does have our challenge coin for our fire department and a lot of heart and soul put into this. And I would just like to thank the entire team for their time, dedication, and efforts to build us a fantastic home. Like I said, for all those that were involved in the project, I just wanted to say thank you overall. I know it was a very long duration for all of us. We had construction being done at the North Fire Station while we lived there, and we had dedicated employees throughout coming to the station day in and day out to make sure that a third of our lives were well taken care of. And we appreciate it from all the firefighters. Thank you.
I'd like to have the team from Wharton Smith come on up, please. What we're giving the design team and the builders is a picture of the fire station and the signatures of all the firefighters that work here on the island. So as our appreciation, thank you very much for all you've done. Okay, we have a special presentation that's going to be given to us from Norm and Patty Schimmel. Norm is from Manhattan and has been an integral part of the 9/11 presentations throughout Sarasota County. This is the 5th fire station that he has donated or presented a photo of the Trade Center. So I'm going to turn it over to Norm and Patty. Thank you. This will be hung in the foyer of the firehouse.
Thank you. My name is Norman Schimmel. In addition to being a resident, I address you as Mr. Harmer, as a veteran of the United States Army also. I'm a native New Yorker. I lived in Manhattan for 40 years, 39 blocks from the towers. We saw them go up and we saw them come down. I came down to Longboat Key in 1979 to the Colony Beach and Tennis Club, and I've been here ever since. Patty and I moved here permanently 12 years ago. We were married at the tennis club a month after 9/11, and there was a memorial ceremony that preceded the marriage. A marriage like that they had never seen before. At any rate, what happened here is we've helped the SPD and all the first responders establish a 9/11 memorial ceremony, which we're very proud of. This year it will be at the cemetery on 9/11 from 6 to 7:30, and the ministerials will be involved also. But Patty and I every year contribute a framed canvas, and the framed canvases are in the county all over, but what we're most proud of is this is the 6th framed canvas that will go into a new firehouse. God bless it. Keep building them. Keep building them. Having been through the things that we've been through, ladies and gentlemen, you are the best and the finest that this country has to offer. And we are just very, very proud, very humbled, and very honored to be a part of this ceremony. There are millions of people in this nation that you may not know about that pray for you and your family's safety every morning, but they do. So I say this to you, God bless you and your family, and God bless America.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and do the uncoupling. If I could have the drivers of both the apparatuses move the trucks down just a little bit. What we're going to do is you'll see a red fire hose out front of the firehouse, and it's tradition at any time a firehouse opens up that the uncoupling takes place, which means you disconnect the coupling, and once you disconnect the coupling, now the fire station is open.